Hello and welcome to Paddy the Panda's first podcast from his TikTok account. It's been nice for you to join us here this evening. Very exciting. I'm so pumped today. I have to say, the excitement level is through the roof. I am blessed though. I'm not worried about my own safety like some of you guys are, but I'm just pumped for election day, as I have been since I was a young chap. Very excitingly, I'm joined by some other TikTokers here, and it's all ladies. Ladies are in the house representing. So I'm going to just go around the table here, and you all guys can all introduce yourselves for the audience listening. We'll start off with you, Kim. If you just want to say hello to everyone.
Sure. I'm Kim. My username is Kim Buffalo, New York. I'm basically all American white female. I grew up in the Midwest, yet have lived all over the country, from East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, conservative as well as very liberal cities. So I have pretty good experience in regards to demographics. But yeah, happy to be here.
Excellent. And it's great to have you here. And we've been following each other for quite some time, exchanging views. And that's why I gave you the nickname earlier as Sassy Kim. Sorry about that. I thought it was very funny. And you did too, apparently. So happy days.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a newcomer really to TikTok and a rising star, in my opinion. I found her about 2 weeks ago and I absolutely love her content. So Mud, do you want to take it away?
Sure. And I basically just talk about politics, whatever I think is going on or, want to speculate about. I also do a lot of music on my channel. So I'm kind of like half and half, but really I'm just focusing right now on politics because of the election. And also I just want to end the nightmare that's Trump. So doing my due diligence.
Excellent. And I've heard some of your music pieces. You make them up yourself and you put them, I think you did the Cranberries there recently, did you? Which is brilliant. As an Irishman, I love to hear the Cranberries. Next up, we have Christy, so you're going to fall in love with this lady's accent, first of all. It's absolutely delightful. So, Christy, if you want to just let people know who you are.
I'm from, I originally grew up in a little town called Elizabethton, Tennessee in Appalachia, way up in the mountains. And I met a man and moved to New York 15 years ago, right outside of New York City. It didn't work out. He turned out to be a Trump supporter, and we are currently going through a divorce. And that was the nail in the coffin. It was the racism for me in the end. But I have a interesting viewpoint because of where I'm from. And I also grew up in a very open family. My parents were hippies and they grew weed, and I had 2 gay aunts. So I grew up in this very open and very democratic and liberal family in a very, very, very red conservative area. And I moved. The town that I live in New York is actually all Republican, very, very red town, this town, Harrison, New York. And it's kind of strange how New York can be a lot like the South. And Kim, you can probably relate. When I feel homesick, I'll go upstate because it reminds me of home somewhat. So, but my TikTok, I'm not really, I came to TikTok for politics, and I kind of use it to vent a little bit. I'm an abuse survivor, and I talk a lot about that, and divorce, and politics, and that's about it.
Excellent. And you were saying that TikTok has become almost like a therapy kind of tool for you. There's a talk for everything.
Like I have a lot of stories to tell too. I'm trying to work them all into a book. I have no idea how to do it because my life has just really been an adventure. And that is my goal, to try to figure out how to do it in 60-second increments, because I've got some super interesting Southern Appalachian stories.
Amazing. So obviously today is election day. So I'm sure you're all very excited. I mean, I'm very obviously not a Trump supporter. I'm very much a Biden supporter. But I do have a kind of an opinion outside of the USA, which is kind of unique, I suppose, a little bit. But I just want to say hello to everyone who's watching on YouTube right now. Some comments are coming in. People love the accents, and people are commenting about your glasses, and they love your little boy who just came in there, Mud, just to say hello, a little cameo appearance. But talking real talk now, how are you guys feeling about Donald Trump and the election today? Kim, do you want to just let us know where's your anger level right today, or where's your stress level today?
I've been able to manage my stress level today. Yesterday, I was extremely stressed out. Yesterday was really extremely stressed out because a lot of TikTokers that I follow, they will basically say, "Oh, and other people have mentioned this too, that we're doing really well, Biden's up. Don't worry, everybody." As well as Patty, don't worry, everyone. We've got it in the bag. But then I'll go to like my dude, Tommy will say, "I don't know, you guys. This might not be." Or C Dubs will say the same thing. Well, we'll have a post where it's like, we're not at a 3% increment, and we're basically, at even, and we're not sure. And so the anxiety yesterday was not good, but today I've been more busy, and I've had to manage my social media and just stay calm because I can't do anything. It's a matter of I can't do anything other than just stay calm and find out what happened. So.
And you're working from home as well, so you're almost like in a bit of a cocoon. Yeah. So actually, Kim, do you have earphones? There's just a bit of a kickback there. It's just a little bit better with earphones. But in the meantime, I'll talk to Christy. Christy, so how are you feeling? How are you feeling in terms of your anxiety and your stress?
Today, I've had a lot going on in my personal life, so I've been kind of consumed emotionally with that. But I feel oddly hopeful. I feel like there's going to be a struggle and there's going to be a fight about it. But I think that the really low turnout today is not a good sign for Trump. And that has really made the fact I was in and out voting here in an all Republican town in 5 minutes. And that's just, I work the polls. It's unusual. Republicans always vote the day of. There's always you're always waiting at least 10 minutes. It's just one little place to vote. And that really boosted my confidence a lot. And we talked earlier about Trump's last comments when he was casting his vote. It was very odd. It was not like him. It was almost like he was conceding in a way that he even talked about being a loser, and how hard that was for him, and which was a really odd thing for him to say. And that was just like, ooh, yeah. Trump,
I think in fairness to Donald, we have to give him credit insofar as he has done 30 rallies in the last 7 days or something like that. And each rally lasts for an hour and a half or something like that. And, he has allegedly just had, coronavirus. So don't get me wrong. I think he's a piece of shit, but he has done a huge amount of rallies. So he's probably wrecked today. Mud, how about you? You're over at the other side of the country. You're over representing the West Coast. How are things up there in Washington? You're just north of Seattle, I think. So how are things there? Probably different feel altogether.
Well, I live in a pretty Trump-supporting county where I'm at. I actually just got a video kicked off of TikTok today because I was filming myself watching the trucks go by and yelling about it. So I'm trying not to have those same doubts of 2016, the ones where we thought that Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton was going to win and then nobody showed up. I'm really hoping it's not going to be like that this year. So I'm trying my best to be optimistic, but also cautiously optimistic. I don't know.
Yeah. So I understand, and people always refer to 2016. Lots of people have have PTSD almost from 2016, and being so sure. I remember going to bed and then thinking this is in the bag for Hillary, and then waking up and be like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
now, see, I knew
what?
that
Donald Trump is the president, Mr. I'm gonna build a wall. Like, I really hate this guy, and all of a sudden, the trajectory of your country completely changed. By the way, when you get a video kicked from TikTok, when it's taken down, that's when you're making an impact, because Trump supporters will literally follow people and mass report. So don't be too worried when that happens, because it happens to me at least 3 videos every single day. Yeah, the amount of content, I mean, I can wear a bra and that's fine, but I can't wear a Biden hat because that'll get kicked off. So it's a little bit horrible. But I suppose, interestingly, for the reason why I wanted to have a panel of ladies on is because Amy Coney Barrett took her seat there a couple of weeks ago. The future of your country is a little bit different now. The future of your country is in doubt, especially in terms of your reproductive rights. The rainbow community are in jeopardy. So how are you guys feeling? How are you guys dealing with that in terms of, your country's been set back 70 years? Mud, do you want to give us some insight?
Can I start off with that, or do you?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to go ahead. Yeah, no problem.
It's really strange for me. I had a really hard time with the Kavanaugh hearings. I had to have an abortion when I was 14 years old because of sexual abuse. In my area of Tennessee, it literally became legal the year before this procedure had to be performed. If I had not had that procedure, I would not be alive today. Like, I wouldn't be here today. Like, that was a necessary situation. And it was a result of childhood abuse. Like, I mean, there was no other option for me. But had it not been legal in my state, I would have been forced to have had that baby. So, like, when Kavanaugh was voted in, I had like a complete ass breakdown. I had to take time off of work. And that's when things really went south with my husband. And I really had that freak out. Now, this woman being elected is just like, holy shit, this is really happening. Like, I'm very lucky and I'm privileged that I am at the end of the spectrum where I don't have to worry so much about my reproductive rights because I'm older. And, I don't really have to worry about that so much. But this is so scary for the younger women that I know. I mean, I have a son that's 21 years old. I mean, it affects our sons too, as much as the women. They are the fathers of these children. But the right to choose is just so important, and that's going to immediately be up. And also, I really worry about LGBTQ rights because I have a lot of family members in that area.
And tell me, Christy, did this influence your decision to vote, whichever way you voted?
Absolutely.
Because you're from a red state, so
yeah.
So were you leaning a certain way, and then all of a sudden, the Senate forced through the Amy Coney Barrett?
I've always been an independent, and I actually registered as a Democrat in order to vote for Bernie against Hillary. I changed my registration so that I could vote in the primaries. I've always kind of voted with my gut about people, more of a feeling sort of thing. I looked at policy-wise, sure, but it's just more about who they are as a person. That's the only way I know to describe it. Humanity, what I look for.
How about you, Mud? How about you? Because you're obviously younger than I am, and probably the youngest person here. So how has the Amy Coney Barrett position affected you, and did it impact your decision making when it came to voting? Because I think everybody here voted. I voted 81 times in Georgia, so hopefully that counts. But what about you, Mud? How did it impact yourself?
So, no, I already was going to vote for Biden anyways, but just the idea of Amy Coney Barrett, first of all, she was only a federal judge for 3 years after Trump appointed her, so she hardly has any experience. And then I'm bisexual. I might meet a woman one day that I want to marry. And, you know, I have 2 kids now, but if I get pregnant in the future, and it's not just about like lack of abortion, you know, it's just in general, the whole shutting down Planned Parenthood, making access to birth control harder for women, just the whole picture kind of just terrifies me. So it's just, you know, pro-choice is more about just being, you know, having those choices available, and abortion is a really big part of that.
Yeah, and Kim, I'm gonna go around the table with all of these questions, but I remember some of your content. You know, you were very, very angry at the Senate for even having the hearings, and so maybe let me know. I mean, I think you vote blue anyway, but how did ACB affect you?
I'm concerned about we didn't. I feel like we basically got hijacked it again. Like Kavanaugh was hijacked it, and then now another seat is being hijacked it, and it's the wrong time. And majority of people in the U.S. said it was the wrong time, and basically the Republican Party and Trump's admin specifically pushed it through. And so I really, I think it was my last straw. I want to be optimistic about Coney. I really try to be. I really try not to be an extremist. But it was my last straw. Because it was just, there's no ethics or morality anymore. And we need that back.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously I'm a man, so it doesn't impact me as much. And I'm in Ireland, so like abortion is available here. When we change our constitution when it comes to issues like this, and the only thing that can change that again is a popular vote, constitutional vote again. So almost 70% of Irish people voted in favour of abortion 2 years ago, and the only way that can change, old white men can't change that. The popular vote can only change that. And I'd love for that to be the case in the US instead of referring things back to the states, because we all know that some states like Kentucky and other places are a little bit more simple than others. And that's my polite way of saying things. But there's a comment there from Michelle, you know, the youth vote is up significantly, almost 20 million new voters who turned 18 since the last election are now voting. And I can't help but think that that would have impacted the ACB pushing through the Supreme Court, because let's not forget that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an icon and an amazing powerhouse of a woman who I've loved for the last 20 years of my life, and I'm not even living in the United States. So I feel personally aggrieved that Amy Coney Barrett took Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat, and I think set back the United States about 70 years. But with that in mind, you think that Joe Biden is gonna sack the courts to counteract that, Kim?
I don't think it's the time to speculate at the moment. I'm honestly just trying to get through the week. Be quite honest. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if they will want to do that or not. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, honestly.
That's okay. Does anybody else want to come in on that?
I think that something will be done. I don't know if they can take her off of the court, but I think if there's any possibility that can be rescinded somehow, I think that they'll try every legal avenue to do it. I don't think it's possible, but I just did some cursory looking into it. But I do. They've openly talked about expanding it. So I think that's definitely a possibility. But most of my friends are all getting their IUDs replaced, stocking up on birth control, and I mean, I was a part of a whole group of people that were just working on, stockpiling things that might be needed, and resources and places to go, and the people that can give rides, and things like that. There's a whole network of people that are working out options, because in New York, especially New York City down here, I don't think we have to worry about those rights going away. I think New York State will protect us. California there will be safe areas. So that those of us that are in safe areas are really working with other people. Like, I have a fold out couch. I have a good car. I can give rides. There's things I can do. I don't have a lot of money, but a lot of people have money to donate.
So
I mean, our rights have been slowly reduced the last few years. I mean, a perfect example is Planned Parenthood. I mean, the reduction of Planned Parenthood and the availability of services is ridiculous. When I go from one state and moved from one state to another, I paid $1,000 in birth control every month because my insurance wouldn't pay for it because it was because of state laws. But then I go over to New York State and I pay $20, but you're still paying for birth control. So I ended up getting an IUD because I got tired of paying for it, and my insurance would pay for an IUD, but they wouldn't pay for birth control, which is absolutely absurd. So I feel like it really doesn't matter for one instance if Comey is in for the Supreme Court. It's just one instance, right? Because there's been a series of incidents. There's been a series of occasions where our rights, one little bit after another, have been taken away from us.
So for you, it's more of a straw that's broken the camel's back because of
absolutely, it's
an
just
ongoing scenario.
One additional event.
I'm sorry. I feel like it was a direct retaliation for the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. What? How about you? How about your views on that? What? Can you hear?
Sorry, what was the question? I'm having internet problems.
No worries. And still over home. Yeah, Mud keeps getting kicked, but we're she's gone again. Look, I'll move on to, because we talked about autonomy there, but I want to talk about safety now, because so many people in my comments and are PMing me and messaging me, they're worried about their safety right now. I'm not sure it's as bad as people are going to make it out to be, but I'm going to ask, how safe do you guys feel right now? Both of you are in New York. How safe do you guys feel just going out to the store or post election day in terms of possible protests and violence?
I feel safe, but like, I am a white woman in suburbia. As long as I'm not wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt, I can assimilate. So, I mean, if worse comes to worse, I'll throw on a red hat and be like, I'm not, but like, I have friends that I'm really worried about. And I have a safe space here, but I'm also in a Republican town that is kind of a northern sundown town. It's like known not to be here. Like, if you drive through this, you are not white, you will be pulled over. And this is 30 minutes outside of New York City. 30 minutes outside of New York City. I mean, I have a Black friend that refuses to come here. I mean, he literally laid down in my seat, my passenger seat of my car, to drive here. But we also have like a very corrupt police force here. So like, I feel like I can't even house my friends that do feel like they are in danger in the Bronx and in other areas in the city. But I don't really feel, I feel like the violence that we were going to see was the Trump train that went through on Sunday. Like
the caravan that was in the news.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how 2 years ago a caravan was the most disgusting, vile thing that was the biggest threat to American security coming from South America, and now today a caravan of Trump supporters is a sign of empowerment and grr, look at us strong, manly men. I just find that absolutely startling. Mud, you're on the West Coast, and I've seen some of your TikToks where you're literally geared up with bulletproof vests and everything, and she's gone again. But I've seen some of her content, and she's bulletproof vest. I think she's armed because of her job as well, and she was talking about how not only Republicans, it's not just Republicans who own firearms, it's Democrats as well, and Democrats are more than capable of using those firearms as well. Kim, what about you? What about you? You're in New York as well. How are you feeling about all of that?
So I live in West New York. I live in Buffalo, New York. So I'm on the border of Canada. I mean, I feel pretty safe. And I'm in a neighborhood where I have a lot of diversity in my neighborhood. I've been fortunate to live in cities such as Los Angeles and DC and St. Louis and Minneapolis and St. Paul. I was living in St. Paul in 2016 for the last election. And I mean, I feel perfectly safe. And I don't live in the burbs. I live in the cities. I'm not a fan of the burbs myself, but I feel safe. I am more concerned about people of color. I'm not concerned about myself. I practice good safety myself as well, and I understand my personal safety. I understand self-awareness and situation awareness, and but so I'm not worried about me. I'm more concerned about others, to be quite honest, and other faiths practicing their faiths without concern for their own safety. So I'm not worried about myself, to be honest.
Mud. I know you keep getting kicked out there. I'm not sure. I'm working on it on my end, but I was talking about how geared up you were in some of your videos, and you were talking about safety and Trump supporters and whatnot. So how safe is it over? She's gone again. This is I think maybe if she just refreshes her system, because it's okay on my end. We'll move on anyway. So in terms of the two candidates, then I'm just going to ask some. What is your favorite thing about the candidates, and your least favorite thing about both candidates? I know that's like just a random, and it's, for some of you it's going to be hard to come up with positives for candidates and negatives for candidates, but yeah. So in terms of Christy, I'll come to you first. In terms of the candidates, what do you think is the best thing that they can bring to the table for you?
God, I'm not a Joe Biden fan. I was a Bernie ho all the way. I just, I think at this point, the bar is so low, I will accept Biden because he's like well-spoken. He is intelligent. He has been in politics. He's a corporate politician, and I hate that. But after the circus that we have seen for the last 4 years, and just, it feels like it's been a century. We've literally, this entire year, we've lived out like the entire like 60s and 70s. And had a pandemic. It's insane. And I just want some normalcy. As far as what do I hate about Trump is attitude towards women. That's the most vile, disgusting thing about him, is even the way that he addresses any woman that he's speaking to. If they just, no matter what the situation is.
I was listening to Lady Gaga, and I call her that on purpose because it's more entertaining to say Lady Gaga. But she was talking last night on stage that that Trump uses his fame as a justification to do all of these things, and unfortunately, people in the United States, and some states in particular, really are drawn towards fame over policy. So, I personally, I haven't really heard any policy from Donald Trump with all of these, dozens and dozens of rallies. There's no real policy. It's more, well, this guy is evil because. Kim, what's your favorite bit of policy from Biden, and is there anything redeemable about Donald Trump?
I just want to hear you laugh. That's what you want the sassy to come out. That's all it is. I'm glad you're asking.
I promise I won't do I don't want to. Kim, just tell it like it is, Kim. Don't hold back. I'm your favorite president.
I'm really, really bad at it. Really. So like, I'm really glad you're asking the question about what am I voting for Biden, because I feel like, especially in TikTok, we're always like voting against Trump, and I would really hope that that's one thing I really, really hope for, that people are going and finding out more about Biden and Kamala and understanding what they're going to fight for and how we can hold them accountable, because that's really what matters, to vote for a candidate, not against a candidate. And as much as I can't stand Trump, and I don't think there's a redeeming quality. I really kept hoping for the last 4 years to hear 1 ounce of redemption. He fails every time. He has failed every time. So there really isn't. And he just keeps getting worse and worse. And I still think he's drugged up, but that's for another day. But the redeeming quality for Biden, and the reason why I want to vote for him, is his focus on environment and getting us back on track when it comes to environmental issues. And that's one of the biggest items for me, is to be able to bring science back into the damn White House, y'all. Like, I'm tired of him. He just totally ruined the first year of his presidency and taking all the science out of every kind of reference from in the White House. And it just drove me insane. I think that was the most angry I became in the last 4 years. As well as, again, and I've mentioned this to you, Patty, that it's the to be able to correct and to be able to create relationships between countries again, and to be able to cooperate with other countries again, and to collaborate, and to be able to create those relationships with others instead of cutting countries off and making them an enemy. With the exception of Russia.
Yeah, countries outside of the North Korea, Turkey, Russia. Yeah, I agree.
That has been one of the worst things for us, and that will take us years to repair. So that's my opinion.
Mud, we're going to try an answer here. So we're talking about policy from maybe Joe Biden. What's your favorite thing? Is there anything redeemable about Trump for you? And what swayed you to vote a particular way?
So I guess the biggest thing I was excited to hear Joe Biden talk about was his Green New Deal, which is not the Green New Deal, but it is the Green New Deal. It kind of bothers me that I've seen him actually lie a couple of times, misquoting his own website when they bring it up. But that doesn't undo everything that Trump has done. The one redeeming quality about Trump is that soon he won't be in the White House. That's pretty much it. I can't really think of much else to say besides, I think the only one thing that I did kind of like was he made insulin more accessible to people on Medicare and Medicaid, but that's it in 4 years. So, yeah.
So for me, looking in from abroad, I just find it staggering that for the entire campaign, like, it was 99% of everything that came out of Donald's mouth was a lie, like a categorical lie, a falsehood, and people cheered it, and people looked, I found it startling, and Kim, you kind of mentioned it there about science, like they were chanting at rallies to lock Anthony Fauci up. The one kind of safe pair of hands that we all thought, okay, well, the pandemic might be okay because at least we have Fauci. At least Fauci's there. And it turns out that Donald said openly, well, after the election, I'm going to fire him because I don't need to keep him around because I won't lose any votes then as a result. Now, obviously, I'm very firm that he's not going to be re-elected. But I would also agree with Biden in terms of his Green New Deal. But Joe Biden, in my mind, is only going to be a 4-year, one-term president. Kamala Harris certainly will be leading the ticket in 2024. Hopefully with maybe somebody like Pete Buttigieg or somebody like that. But I think Joe Biden is going to steady the ship for 4 years. Only real reform won't happen in the first couple of years. And then it'll be a build up for Kamala Harris and what she's going to do. And hopefully in the next 4 years, they'll smash the Electoral College up and maybe go to a ranked choice system that they're trying out in Maine right now. And it means that some, well-known Republicans are going to lose their seat up there. But what do you think about Donald Trump then? If he loses, what's he going to do? Is he going to stay in office until January? Is he going to run for the hills? Is it going to be a Trump dynasty moving forward? Will Ivanka run? These are questions that I have about the Trump family. I don't think Trump will run again, but let me know, Christy, what do you think? Is Trump going to stick around, or is he going to head for the hills?
If he loses,
If he loses, yeah.
I'm worried about the damage that can be done before he's like actually out. Because a lot of damage could be done in 2 months. Look at what he's done this year. I would like to think that he would like to go off to Russia, but I think he owes everyone money. He's what, $900 billion in debt? 900 million? I don't know, 900 million. 900 million, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I think it's 1.1.
are terrified he's going to off himself, all right, because that's going to become their debt. I've lost all my parents. I know how this works. So they're just like they're probably getting him premium health care to make sure he stays alive as long as possible. And I don't know where he could go besides North Korea. Seriously, who would take him? Think about it. Like, I mean, what country? I mean, let's entertain the thought. Brazil, possibly. What is Venezuela?
I'm not sure. Kim,
so I'm apologizing because I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here. But.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Kim is having the time of her life there. I don't know what's happening.
I don't think anybody will take him but North Korea. Am I wrong? Or maybe Brazil.
I think a prison will do it. I think a prison will take him. I think a prison will. I think he's going to be in a courthouse in New York.
I'm worried.
Somewhere in New York, in the district courthouse. And maybe in Albany.
I'm worried about him going on an Adderall binge and nuking New York City so that he doesn't end up on Rikers Island. Like that's like my fantasy scenario. Like, oh my God, at least it'll be over quick. I'm close. So
Kim, you're having the time of your life there. You're like, it's everybody else is like, yeah, this is really serious, and you're like, it's hilarious. He's going to prison
because you don't know where he can't go anywhere. Where is he going to go? Where is he going to go?
Yeah, there's nowhere to take him. Absolutely.
I think prison is. I think he's going to have a lot of indictments against him. And as soon as he walks out, I think that's the reason why he's trying to stay there. Is because he doesn't want charges to be. He's going to have so many things charged against him when he leaves office, and and his family members are all involved. So how in the world his family members being able to even run for presidency or any kind of office with any kind of criminal background? I don't think they can they?
Well, I think they can. I think Donald is so keen, super keen for his girlfriend. I mean, his daughter Ivanka to run for office. You know what I mean? I genuinely think he's infatuated with her, and I think he sees her as the first female president, and that's why I think he has such resentment towards Kamala Harris. It's like it should have been my favorite daughter, and that's what he really kind of likes. Mud, what do you think? Do you think that he's going to burn the house down in the lame duck presidency, or is he going to whimper off to Mar-a-Lago?
Oh gosh, I think he's probably just going to continue holding rallies. To be honest, that's until he goes to prison. That's what he's going to do. He's just going to continue holding rallies, and I mean, he can't fly to Russia. They're going to release everything they have on him after he loses. So the whole world hates him. What's he going to do? Mar-a-Lago or just more Trump rallies? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, I think he's going to hide.
Like a cult leader.
I think he loves to have the spotlight on him so much. I doubt his behavior is going to change much, honestly.
I think we need to remember that he got into this whole race thing so that he could set up Trump TV. And I think he has a special relationship with OAN, the news network, because he's very fond of them. And I genuinely think he's probably going to try and buy that and make Trump TV after a period of time. But I think after this election, his ego is so fragile that he's going to take the rejection of the American people so hard that he's just going to hide out in Mar-a-Lago. He's certainly not going to go to inauguration. He's not going to give a concession speech, I don't think. And I think once people realize that they can't leverage him in terms of the money that he owes them, that they'll slowly start to release the tapes, slowly release, the evidence for SDNY, and slowly, hopefully, he might end up in a prison cell. And I'll watch that. If they put a camera on the wall with Donald Trump in a prison cell, I will watch that 24/7 just to see the guy go crazy. Yeah, I'm a firm advocate of that. So in terms of the future, then I'm very keen, because I look at Joe Biden's team and I look at the strong women that are there, like Elizabeth Warren, Sally Yates, AOC, Kamala Harris herself. So where do you guys see women playing a role in the next 4 years in a hypothetical world where Biden wins? Kim, do you want to start?
Where do I see women? I hope we have more candidates, and I hope that the double standard reduces in time. I think that's my hope, because I'm kind of over the double standard of how a woman looks and how we talk and what we look like to be a part of the decision making. And it's even becoming more so, and regardless of what sex you are, is the personality of, people want to vote on personality versus experience versus intelligence versus the ability to rationalize and ability to problem solve. And those things to me are more important about versus the way you look. And so I hope that in the future, we don't have to have these conversations, so we can just determine them based upon the person and what they bring to the table versus what you see in the mirror. Although that's a huge hope, but that's what I hope.
But it's not a hope that's beyond reason. That would be the standard elsewhere in social democracies across the world. America is a little bit backward when it comes to gender in politics. Christy, what about yourself?
I think they're going to bring a lot of charges. Is what they're going to bring, because I think, first of all, one of my main concerns is what's going to come out about what's been really going on at the border this entire time, because what we know is so horrific. That's been, what is out there is it's war crimes. It's horrible. It's genocide. So I am terrified to find out what comes out of those camps at the border once that administration is finally gone and a team goes in. I don't really know what the process is going to be for that or what that looks like. But I think they're going to bring a lot of justice to this past administration is what they're going to do. Rightly so. It's and just like Kim was saying about the double standards. Just imagine if a woman behaved in that manner and the way that Trump talked and like in the angry, in a bullying way and interrupting, cutting people off. I'm kind of sick of it too. And
I understand.
I'm really worried about the true scope of things. I think it's going to take decades to undo the damage that the last 4 years has done.
And in the rest of the world, like every day, there seems to be at least 2 scandals with this White House. In the rest of the world, one of those scandals would be enough to take down an administration. And I think because there's scandal after scandal, it means that we don't deep dive enough into what the actual issue is. So I think it's sad that we've almost forgotten about the kids in cages at the border. We've forgotten that women are being forced to have hysterectomies and abortions. We've forgotten all of these things. So Mud, what about you? Like in terms of women, like you're the next generation. You're going to lead the way in terms of political content and whatnot. So what's your hope for women? Do you think that women are going to play a massive role in this next administration? And how do you think that's going to impact you?
Well, yeah, I hope we see a lot more Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking moments, especially from younger women like AOC, and just get more women, more people of color into the administration. Kamala Harris was obviously a good choice for the ticket, and I don't know. I'm really hopeful that more people people, like in my age group, especially, just seeing a lot of, younger millennials and Gen Zers, how psyched up about politics they get, and definitely coming in and kind of changing the landscape, the face of what our government looks like. I think women will have a huge role in not only facilitating that, kind of being, the go between, since seems like Hillary Clinton was a pretty good indicator of white women being kind of like the in between, I guess, of the generations.
And it's interesting then that Kamala Harris is going to be not only, in my opinion, the first female president, but she's a person of color as well, which I think will propel a new generation of people of color being involved in politics, because they've been disenfranchised for hundreds of years. And that's something in Ireland. We've only got 17% diversity in Ireland, so we have very, very few people of color in positions of power as well. And that's something we're looking at changing. And in terms of women in government, we brought in, that you have to, as a political party, you have to have a minimum of 40% female candidates, a minimum per party, in order to try and, balance the books in terms of female representation in Ireland, because it's lacking. And I think we could all, whether it's the USA or Ireland, I think we could all move forward, I guess. So I suppose that because it's just a quick chat here tonight, and I'm looking forward to having you guys on again. In terms of then just a final question, I'm going to ask you to call the election for me, as best as you can, or in a comedic fashion. Kim's already laughing; she's already delighted with the question. So, and I'm looking at the comments here, and it's very much like people are worried that it's Trump supporters in the queues for the polls, but also 73% of exit polls are showing, a Biden vote. But who's going to win the election, Kim, and how bad is it going to be?
How bad is it going to be
for Donald? Again, a loaded question.
I think it's going to be bad, but I think that Donald is going to be, he will challenge it. He's going to challenge the shit out of it. I think Biden will win, and I think it'll be indicated. I don't know if, when it comes to, I know my dude said, or others have said, we have to make sure that he loses throughout the whole night, across the election. And if he wins at one moment, he'll claim it. But I honestly still don't. I'm not concerned about him claiming that moment, because it's really not his. It's not he can claim as much as he wants, but if he loses, he loses. But I am concerned about the amount of ballots that are voted, and if it's a honest election. And I do think that Biden is going to win it, but Trump is going to challenge the hell out of it as much as he can. So we just have to be aware of that.
I think we need to remember that. Yeah, Donald Trump has an army of lawyers, but also Biden has come out and said, well, I have an army of lawyers as well. Yeah. And we'll go toe to toe, no problem whatsoever. Maud, what about yourself? Who's going to win the election? Call it for me. And again, how bad is it going to be for whichever candidate that loses Donald Trump?
Oh, well, Biden's definitely going to win by at least 310. So.
Oh, wow. That's a massive margin. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I have it about 260 margin, but yeah, that's a big margin, and I hope that's the case. Absolutely, Christy.
I think Biden's going to win. I think we might have a good idea tonight of how it looks, and I think in the end, it's probably kids, that whole generation of kids that probably did it, because my son is part of that generation, and he went with me today and voted. This was his first presidential election to vote in.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and all these, I really think that the younger generation has just had it. And historically, they don't vote. I work with elections. I can tell you the young kids don't come out to vote. It's like 30 and up. Those are your voters. The older, they'll more freak. The older they are, they're always there. Them old ass racist Republicans, they are always there to vote, and then they hang out all day. But for real, I do think we're going to have a pretty clear idea. I think Trump is going to pitch an absolute fit about it. And I think it's going to be a bumpy ride through the rest of the year for us because of it. But I think in the end, everything's going to be okay. And I think
it's interesting that we're all very certain that Biden's going to win, but Trump supporters are absolutely unaware to the fact that their candidate is going to lose. Like they're all so certain that Trump is going to win. Go ahead, Christy.
I was certain that Trump was going to win, and nobody believed me. Everyone thought I was insane, but I was
in 2016.
I was sure he was going to win. I knew it.
But I think because over 100. I think because over 100 million people voted before today, and there's not that apathetic vote. I think the pollsters got it right with his percentage vote, but they got it wrong with 103 million people not bothering their arses to turn up. Yeah. So I think they don't have this time around. So I think we're all right. I think Biden's going. Florida will come in tonight, I have no doubt. And once Florida result comes in, I think we'll all know a little bit more. So, folks, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to just go around the table so you can kind of give a shout out for your handles and whatnot again. I'm going to be live again a couple of more times tonight. I'm going to be live at 8 p.m. Eastern time with Old Man Murphy and Brain Daddy. And then at 10:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Eastern time, I'm going to be live with My Dude and Rattle 2020 to get into the minutiae and the detail of the exit polls. So that's all coming later on because I know some people were asking in the comments where people are. But I'm delighted that I've had you guys on first. You are my first ever guests.
Oh,
so that's something you can, I was Paddy's first on his show. So anyway, Muds, do you want to just give a shout out for your handles and stuff and wrap up?
Sure. You can find me at Mud Bailey on TikTok. That's the only thing I have right now. And actually hear what I have to say. Sorry about my Wi-Fi. I kept getting out of here, but I figured it out finally. So thanks a lot, Patty.
No worries. Kim?
I'm Kim _Buffalo _New York NY. I'm a very small account. I do various things. Sometimes I make comments, sometimes I don't. I like being a small account, but more so I like supporting other creators like Patty and others that do a fantastic job. And I really like listening to them. And that's kind of why I'm on TikTok, to be quite honest, is because I enjoy the other creators more than myself, to be quite honest. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
But that's me.
I'll take the compliment. Christy?
I'm Chris Cable, CRYSCABLE, pretty much across the board, but I don't really post much except on TikTok and bitch at racist on Facebook. So you can find me there, roasting your old racist pant probably every day. But yeah, I post a lot of health. I have CPTSD, I'm having ketamine infusion treatments. So I was posting about that, but nobody was interested. So, but yeah, I'm not in it really for the followers. I just enjoy the outlet. It's a really great support system. I mean, for me, it saved me going through all I've been through this past year.
Yeah, but what I found is TikTok can be a really kind of valuable community, like a really valuable community where you can find like-minded people, where you can have a little bit of banter with, a little bit of argument, a little bit of debate, and nobody's going to try and burn your house down. So that's why I like it. And also, I'm 3,000 miles away, so I can say what I want about you guys and then just go to sleep happily, no problem whatsoever. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for everyone who's watching. I think there was about 380 over the course of this talk who've been on there. Follow everyone. It's because we're all amazing as we've described. And thanks very much. I'll be live again later, and I'll see you soon. Slán Bhaile.
Bye.